So we actually don't smoke. That's part of our church. We don't smoke and we don't drink.
That girl's smoking right now. Super insulting.
Yeah.
Wait, why is that insulting? You walked up to them. You're intruding on their lives. How could you possibly expect them to live on your terms simply because you walked up to them on the street? That is outrageous. A while back, I did a response video to this Mormon chick watching the South Park episode about Mormonism. I thought it was a pretty interesting video. Well, it turns out she did another reaction to a BuzzFeed video about Mormon missionaries. I watched the video and it had a lot of parallels to my old belief system, Jehovah's Witnesses. So I figured we'd take a look at her reaction and see what she had to say. For the record, I would recommend you go and watch the BuzzFeed video. Like them or hate them, this video is actually pretty funny. I put a link to it in the description if you're interested. Okay, let's get into it.
This morning.
What are you girls up to today?
In my 6 months of being missionary for the Church of Jesus.
It is so awkward for 18, 19, 20-year-old guys to talk with, like, girls the same age on the mission.
We'll say like the other way around. Like for us, like to talk with guys that were like our same age. Oh, like awful. I dreaded it.
It was the worst.
It was awful. Yeah, no.
Why? Why is that awkward? It shouldn't be. We're all humans. See, this is one of the things that really contributed to my inability to function in normal societal situations for my entire childhood. Even now, I have a lot of trouble in social situations. It stresses me out. I don't understand how normal social interactions are supposed to play out because there's this big taboo against talking to certain people. I didn't view women as the same as me. I really don't know how to explain it. Not that they were inferior necessarily, but they seemed like completely different creatures. I didn't understand how they thought or why they behaved the way they do. It wasn't until later, way later, after I left Jehovah's Witnesses, that I realized they're humans. They aren't different from me. There's nothing to understand. It's the same mindset I see in these people. And it's the same mindset that leads people to believe that certain genders should fit into certain gender roles. Women should be at home cooking and cleaning for me, servicing me, taking care of the children, the manager of the home. That mindset is kind of a staple of religion. And when you give it up, you tend to give up the whole women have responsibilities as women thing too. Oh, they might view women as equals and even treat them really well, but they believe they have certain responsibilities like cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the kids, and they judge a woman on how well they maintain those responsibilities. Let's continue.
I know we should find an investigator, but I really don't want another door in my face.
Maybe we shouldn't lead with Joseph Smith as a prophet.
That is true.
Yeah.
So I feel like all the time they teach you like lead with like the church is restored and like Joseph Smith had a vision and this and that, but at least for like where I was at in Italy, nobody cared about that. They didn't care that there was a prophet because for them, the Catholic Church is the one true church and like they believe that there's nothing to restore. So I would always start with, hey, excuse me, like, can I ask you a question? And then they'd say yes. And be like, according to you, what's the purpose of life? And they'd kind of be taken back by that and be like seriously, like, what's the purpose of life? Mm-hmm. And like, they would joke with you all the time, say like, oh, get money or have sex or do and you'd be like, really? Is that really the purpose of life for you? And then like, when you put it the screws to them, like, eventually they say like, they don't know.
I feel like there's a startling lack of awareness here. The question is flawed from the get-go. If it's a Christian answering, their answer is going to revolve around Jesus in some way. What's the meaning of life? God said to be fruitful and to fill the earth. So the meaning of life is to have a bunch of kids, learn from your mistakes, and then go to heaven afterward. If it's an atheist answering, like me, I'm going to tell you that it's a malformed, nonsensical question. What's the meaning of existence for a mountain? Why is it there? What's its purpose? What gives the mountain motivation to keep on mountaining as always? Nothing. There's no meaning for a mountain. Now, if you ask what gives you meaning to your life, that's a question I can answer, but it'll be different for everybody. My purpose in life is to make the world a better place than I found it, and I do that by trying to break people out of cult mind control. When you ask that question of some random person on the street, they don't know what angle you're taking with it. You could have asked them, what gives you purpose in your life? What motivates you to keep going every day? That question would have yielded some serious answers, but when you phrase the question in such a way that there's no answer you can provide except a religious one, and the person you're asking has no idea what religion you are or how you view the world, you can expect either a sarcastic answer or no answer at all. That question would piss me off.
Eventually they say like, they don't know. And then I always make fun of them like, you don't know. Like, you go to school, you go to work, you get up, you do everything every day, and you don't know why you're doing that? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then, like, because everybody cares about the purpose of life because you're here living, that was like a good approach.
It might have been a good approach if your goal was to piss people off. Congratulations, you succeeded.
I totally feel these guys though right now when they're like complaining about having door slammed in their face. I mean, I didn't have that many doors slammed in my face, but not as many as you did.
Well,
but it is true. It's kind of like, it's super frustrating being a missionary. This is all they do all day long, is teach people and knock doors, and it gets hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. I wasn't a Mormon missionary, but I knocked on doors as a Jehovah's Witness for years, and it sucked. Mormon missionaries do it for a couple years, and they're basically done. Granted, it's an intense couple of years, but Jehovah's Witnesses do it for their entire lives. I'd get people slamming the door in my face all the time. They'd open it, ask what I wanted, I'd tell them I was a Jehovah's Witness and wanted to talk to them about the Bible, and they'd usually say not interested and shut the door. Sometimes I'd get the odd fire and brimstone, snake-handling, poison-imbibing Pentecostal preacher who'd decide to start arguing with me theologically, which could get pretty interesting. But for the most part, people view Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses as really strange, because they are. Let's continue.
What makes you any different from all the other churches out there?
We don't drink alcohol.
Okay, I haven't drank for about a month now, so
Hey, that's awesome.
yeah, I feel fresh. I feel rejuvenated.
We also don't use tobacco.
Well, I smoke, but I'm trying to cut back.
Self-improvement is so important.
And then it's just no caffeine.
No caffeine. It's so hot.
Okay, these guys are really bad at just coming out with all the cans instead of
Right.
like, here's who we are and here's all the cool things. And
Why? Why hide the cants? They're a real part of the lifestyle. In fact, I'd say it's the thing that makes it a lifestyle and not just a belief system. You can't just believe and be a Mormon. You have to live by the rules. And there are a lot of them. Not just a lot, but the rules that there are serve to separate you from society in significant ways. Just like with Jehovah's Witnesses. Not allowed to celebrate birthdays. Not allowed to go to funerals that aren't run by Jehovah's Witnesses. Not allowed to celebrate Christmas. Not allowed to be alone in a room with somebody of the opposite sex. Not allowed to be alone with somebody of the same sex who's gay. People don't realize how complicated it is. There are so many things that serve to separate you from the rest of the world, but you never see that part of it. At least not until you get more invested in the religion. That way, when you find out what you aren't allowed to do, you're already a little bit invested. It's called the sunk costs fallacy, and cults use it to their advantage all the time. Scientology, Mormonism, and Jehovah's Witnesses are famous for it.
What's your stance on the LGBT community?
What's an LGBT?
The gay people.
Why would you want to know about that?
Why do you listen to so much Britney then?
Like dance?
Yeah, I like men.
Oh, dang.
Hope I didn't send him any mixed signals. I touched his hand.
This really is a funny video. You guys should go watch it. I cut some stuff out so it isn't too long, but it's missing some context. I thought about cutting this part out because I didn't want to spoil the joke, but it's a hilarious video anyway, so go watch it after this.
No, they'd never do that. Like,
No.
anybody, no matter what sin, like, nobody's gonna be like, oh, we can't teach you. Like, that's ridiculous.
no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter what race or religion or what like,
Right.
sexual preference you have. It doesn't, yeah.
Nope. Wrong word. It's not a preference. It's an orientation. Saying preference implies it's a choice, and it's just not. Sure, it doesn't matter who you are as a person. They'll still proselytize to you, but you're expected to change that thing about yourself before you're allowed to be a full member. Are you trans? Not anymore. Not if you want to be a part of the group in any real capacity. Same with Jehovah's Witnesses. They'll preach to you and hope that when the time comes, you'll choose not to be gay anymore. That's why the wording is so significant here. Imagine how many kids out there get bullied and beat up every day of their lives because they're gay. You think it's a choice for them? For that matter, if it's a choice, when did you choose to be straight? Can you change your mind? The answer to that is obviously no. You just are who you are. But I find it particularly interesting when I come across preachers who insist it is a choice and they've been faced with the choice before and decided to be straight. Gay people can do that too. That's a giant red flag that the preacher isn't really 100% straight. I've met a ton of gay dudes who are personally disgusted at the idea of dating a chick, and I'm personally disgusted at the idea of dating a dude. That's not a choice for me, or for them. That's just how it is. And attacking, blaming, shaming, disrespecting, judging, or otherwise mistreating them for who they are is no better than judging somebody as inferior for being black, or for having blonde hair instead of brown hair, or for being handicapped. You're a bad person, and I have no respect for you if you do that. Now, I will grant you that in many cases, people were raised to believe a certain thing from a very young age. I was raised to believe that that being gay was wrong, but I grew up and matured and realized that there's nothing wrong with members of the LGBT community. They aren't wrong for being who they are. They aren't bad or deserving of disrespect. They're humans, just like everybody else. The sooner people realize that, the sooner we progress as a society.
There's gonna be more losses than wins. That's just how this thing works. But I'm sorry. I just think it's been really hard this week. I miss my mom and dad, and I miss my brothers, and I miss my girlfriend, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, I watched this part of the clip and decided to watch the full video, and I feel like this part is extremely relevant. On the BITE model, the model we use to determine if something is a cult or not, there's a subcategory called emotion control. It's all about how cults control people's emotions to prevent them from leaving. Cults will teach emotion stopping techniques to prevent things like anger or homesickness, and the BuzzFeed video is depicting it here. Now this is obviously satirical, but this is exactly how Mormonism deals with emotions. Let's watch the last section of the video.
It's tough being away from your family, I know. It was tough for me when I first got here. You gotta hold on to your testimony.
I know.
That's what will keep you strong. And you know what helps you hold on to your testimony better than anything? Singing about God.
How you doing, Boggs?
My dad just died. Want to sing more?
Yeah.
This is emotion control. This is the group pushing people to lean on the church anytime they feel emotional pain. You see this kind of thing in Alcoholics Anonymous too. You invest everything in Jesus, but since all these emotional hardships are linked to your belief system, anytime somebody challenges your faith, you take it as a personal insult. It locks you into the belief system deeper and deeper. You need it to be true. The idea of Mormonism not being true is worse than death. Who knows if they set it up like that intentionally or not, but cults have been building and improving their ability to control people for centuries, millennia. Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses are the culmination of it.
So we have this rule that you always have to be within sight and sound of your companion. That's mainly for safety issues, for like lawsuits that way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always two witnesses there, and you know nobody's just like trolling for money to do some lawsuit.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just best to have sight and sound.
You're always together too to like help like each other, because like you do have a lot of rules as a missionary. Like we don't use the internet. Like we don't have we can't like just call like our families or something like that. So like you have to be together all the time.
But anyways, this is pretty accurate portrayal of
This
like
is
how
super
like
accurate.
what goes through a missionary's mind.
Except for he called him by his first name. That's weird. Like
Yeah, it's always last name.
Yeah, you always
you
call
either
each other
say
by
elder or sister, or you just like call them by their last name, which you're not
Yeah.
supposed to just say like their last name. You're supposed to say like elder so and so.
Yeah,
but
you're also not supposed to
it
refer to like
does.
their first name. Yeah, it's just weird. Anyways, that's why I didn't know my companion's first names, because we never used them.
Interesting. These people are always within earshot and sight of each other, and they don't use their first names. They call each other Elder Morgan or Elder Smith. It's like they're trying to keep a constant reminder that they aren't Owen Morgan or John Smith. They're Elder Morgan and Elder Smith Mormon missionaries. It's a disturbing level of behavior, information, thought, and emotion control, and it needs to stop. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Etsy store. I sell all kinds of stuff there, but a couple of my favorite items are these signs. If you want to keep Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses from knocking on your door, especially during the pandemic, these signs should do the trick. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't afraid of shit, except apostates. Anyways, give the store a look and see if there's something you like. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for watching, guys.